given that the U.S. is the leader in innovation, I'm going to say developed, but emerging markets are very industrious and eager to catch up as well.
Would you lose all your crypto passwords or your brokerage account login?
Which would I prefer to lose? If I had to lose one, well, it probably has to be the one. It's very hard to tell because I'm half and half crypto, and just to give you a sense, half and half crypto and equities, hardly any bonds. So, given that I think crypto is going to stun the world, at least the way I've positioned in certainly Bitcoin, the biggest, if I had to, I'd prefer to lose the brokerage account.
Yeah. Is AI under or overhyped?
AI is, I think people, thanks to the ChatGPT moment, understand how provocative it is. But I don't think they understand how profoundly it's going to change our lives, especially healthcare. I'm going to qualify it. I understand where I am right now. Asia is much more rapidly adjusting, I think, to the new technologies that are evolving today. Europe is being held back by regulation. However, there is hope. We were impressed that Europe provided much more clarity for crypto or digital assets with the MiCA legislation, way ahead of the U.S. So a question I get here a lot in Europe and the UK is, why aren't we seeing more innovation coming out and a deeper market for venture capital? I think half of the solution is understanding the problem. And I'm hearing even policymakers asking that question. And I do think in the years ahead, there's going to be regulatory arbitrage where countries will start competing with one another with a better regulatory framework. I think the world went way too far after the various crises we've been through, tech and telecom, financial, regulations just strangling innovation. There are three of them there: robotics, energy storage, and AI. Three major innovation platforms. Each one has its own S-curve. And now they're intersecting. One is feeding the other in the form of autonomous taxi platforms. We think that's an $8 to $10 trillion opportunity globally in the next 5 to 10 years. Mm-hmm. So exponential growth all the way.
What will come first? Bitcoin reaching 1.5 million USD or Tesla reaching $2,600?
We have in our Big Ideas 2025 forecasts for both of those, as you say. So which one do we believe will get there first? I have to say Tesla, hesitantly though, because the distance between here, say $330 and $2,600, is less than the distance between 104,000 and 1.5 million. Stocks tend to start outperforming before the broader market does. And that has happened this time as well. We went through tariff turmoil. We went down more than the market, and now we're up more than the market. And the question now is, will this be sustained? If we're right that we're moving from a rolling recession to a strong recovery with surprisingly low inflation because it's going to be productivity driven, I think we're in for very good days for innovation, all kinds of equities, of course. But, our stocks over the last 4 years have faced three major headwinds that are going to turn into tailwinds now.
To be invested in innovation.
Well, our own investment time horizon is 5 years.
Okay.
And, our modeling often goes out beyond that. But we have to believe that that the market is going to start discounting the opportunity within 5 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's discuss Tesla. Tesla is not only ARK's largest holding, but it's also the second most owned US stock among our customers. So I think both you and many of our customers has conviction in this stock. How do you assess Elon Musk's impact and in his other engagements outside of Tesla and its performance?
Yes. It's very interesting to me that this is the number 2 holding among your client base, because we know there's been a lot of negative sentiment about the brand. So isn't that interesting? I've been surprised to learn that. So that gives me hope. As I said, you've got a very tech-forward milestones, as the Model 3 production did in 2018 and 19, so-called production hell. You will find him sleeping on the floor in the factory. He becomes maniacally focused on whatever the bottlenecks are, whatever the gating factors are. And those bottlenecks happen at different times in different companies. So that is why all of his companies have performed extraordinarily well. Now, you might say, it's been a tough patch, from a volatility point of view for Tesla, but that's been true at Tesla's entire history. We still have auto analysts primarily on the sell side of the street following it. And it should be a completely different kind of analyst. It should be a robotics analyst and a battery analyst and an AI analyst. We have 3 analysts on Tesla. So I think the volatility is because it is not well understood. And that's why we give our research away. We put our models out there just to help educate. Bitcoin, having been minted since the beginning of its existence in 2009. The number that will be in existence ever is 21 million. So only 1 million more to go, which is about $100 billion. So scarcity value is becoming more important, especially since for the first time, Bitcoin supply growth dropped below the long-term supply growth of gold, which is 1%. With the latest halving last year, the supply growth now is roughly 0.9%, and that will continue to go down with time, which is unlike gold. If the gold price keeps going up, that supply growth will pick up in its pace. That cannot happen with Bitcoin. The second reason Robinhood is developing a crypto strategy as well. SoFi is developing a crypto strategy. eToro here in Europe has just went public, and we added it to our portfolios. It has a crypto strategy. Many are forced to go indirectly just because their platforms. I'm thinking about advisors now. I realize you're DTC, so your clients can buy it outright. The last thing that I'd like to add is there is a way to kind of straddle the two, and that, of course, is ETFs. So spot Bitcoin ETFs were approved. The SEC approved them last year. ARKB was one of them. That's ours. And so that is sort of a way to leg into pure play Bitcoin exposure. We're scaling now. And then the last one is product and service leadership. These are the top 4, which we actually score when I say last one. Product and service leadership is market share. There are a lot of statistics like that. But because we give away our research on social media, we see a lot of social sentiment, both good and bad, both polite and not so polite, around our research and support for certain companies and their technologies. The other two metrics, critically important, involve cash flow. So enterprise value to EBITDA is our chosen metric. EBITDA adjusted for stock-based compensation and R&D. We've worked with S&P to adjust both the S&P 500 and our flagship. What we assume, a way that most others do not, my guess is, in Europe generally and maybe even in Sweden.
Yeah, we love equities. I read some number that US households have invested 36% of their equity in the stock market, and here in Sweden we're at 36%. So we're just behind. I'm hoping that we will come by.
And I should have mentioned, I didn't finish the answer on Sweden and technology. It has been a beautiful thing to see Spotify and Klarna, and to hear Klarna, and I realize every one of these companies is going to experience volatility, but they're on the right side of change. To see Klarna basically say, hey, we can pull these software as a service services that we're taking and do it ourselves, because guess what? They were ahead of the game on what we now know as vibe coding. We're all going to become coders. So Klarna, when they made that dramatic action, which I think was almost a year ago now.
Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and enabling post notifications for more content on crypto and digital assets. Check out our other videos and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps with the YouTube algorithm and keeps the content coming. Thanks for your